Professor Prakash Karat, comrades and friends. I was just telling Prabhat when I came in that I hope he won't get another notice from the university administration for addressing a meeting of students. Prabhat has spoken about the Kerala model and the alternative trajectory which Kerala has been taking under successive left and democratic governments. I would like to speak about the politics of Kerala today, and in particular about the much hyped up issue of the RSS versus CPM violence. There's a big campaign all over the country today that the RSS is a victim of a most ferocious violent campaign by the CPM, which is also the ruling party in Kerala. And all of you must have heard about Kannur district, which is called the killing fields of Kannur now in the media. So is this violence in Kerala between the RSS and the CPM some sort of bloody battle for turf control, or is it some sort of blood feud in Kannur district, as some people say it is? What has actually been happening in Kannur and in Kerala in terms of the RSS and its brand of politics, which is, I think, very relevant for the rest of the country today. Now, Kannur happens to be in Malabar, the northern part of Malabar, which was part of the British province, while you had Travancore and Cochin, which were princely states. And because it was under direct British rule, Malabar was in the forefront of the national movement in the independence struggle. And Kannur was the epicenter of this freedom struggle and national movement. And because of the ascendancy of the left from the mid-1930s in the freedom struggle and national movement, in the whole of Malabar, the anti-imperialist struggle was also an anti-feudal struggle. The struggle against feudal landlordism. And that is how the mass of the peasantry was brought into the national movement. And it is from that point onwards that you saw, and the same things developed later in Travancore and Cochin, that you saw a twin development, an anti-imperialist, anti-feudal movement which transformed Kerala society in terms of the agrarian relations, in terms of ending the old landlordism and the old social relations associated with it. And on the other hand, there was the social reform movement, the anti-caste movement, what is now popularly in Kerala called the Renaissance movement, where you had figures like Sri Narayana Guru and Ayyangali and Chattampi Swami, etc., which also helped to demolish some of the old caste and feudal divisions in society. Because Kerala, as you know, Swami Vivekananda called it a madhouse, because there was not only untouchability, there was something called unseeability also. So some people belonging to particular caste could not be seen by the upper caste. So they have to wear a bell around their necks when they go on the road, or they have to shout out that we are moving. So any upper caste person is coming, they should be informed, and therefore they'll be asked to leave the road. So it was that type of society, highly hierarchical, parasitical landlordism in Malabar, and it was the communist movement in Malabar which completely smashed all this. And Prabhat referred to the LDF governments, but there was the first communist ministry in 1957, the EMS ministry, which undertook land reforms, which also tried to bring about changes or reforms in other aspects of Kerala society, whether it's the educational system, whether it's the bureaucracy, whether it's the police policy, etc., etc. I don't want to go into that history. But all this in Kerala led to a wide political consensus, in the sense that after land reforms, even the Congress party, which was the other major political party and force, could not ever come out really against land reforms or try to reverse it. So the old landlord elements, the orthodox upper caste elements, and all the hangers-on in society, in Malabar, found only solace in the RSS. I remember as a young boy, in the district I belonged to in Malabar, Palakkad, that around the temples you'd find the RSS. Even in those days, they were confined to those particular social groups of people who had lost out, see, because of land reforms and because of the end of the old social order. So they were a very isolated group. They could not really make any political impact. They could never become a political force or a movement, but they were confined to these peripheries. Then came the new development, which is particularly relevant to what happened in Kannur, which is the organized working class movement. It was not only the anti-feudal peasant movement which grew in Malabar, there was a very strong working class movement, whatever working class was there. And the first RSS offensive or attack in Kannur was to attack the BD workers, who had got organized. The Ganesh BD factory workers were the first to suffer a bomb attack by the RSS coming from across the border, because there was no real RSS gangs available within Kannur. Kannur at that time was all of Kannur, Kasargod, etc., up to the Karnataka border. And the first gang came in a car and threw bombs at a gathering of BD workers. And since then, the RSS played a specific role of strike breakers, working for the capitalists and the employers, hired goons for the capitalists. So the clash or the conflict between the RSS and the communists started in Kannur because of this class angle. And gradually they tried to establish some base and influence. But all these years, from that 1970 to now, nearly 5 decades now, Kannur is divided, Kasaragod is another district. The RSS has not been, through its party, the BJP, to really establish itself politically. In the 10 or 11 constituencies, assembly constituencies that are there now in Kannur, not one have they ever been able to even come second in any assembly election. And in most they lose their deposits whenever they contest elections. So the RSS played a specific role. That is, agents of right reaction, hired goons for the capitalists and the rich people who wanted to smash the organizations of the working people. But naturally, being the RSS, this was one, of course, their class aim. But the other was, being the RSS, it was also instrumental or interested in creating communal tensions and violence. And it is in the same district, Kannur, in Talasheri, to be precise, in the town of Talasheri, that the RSS succeeded in engineering the first communal riot. And in that riot, the modus operandi of how the RSS operates, spreading of rumors that Muslim Hindu girls have been raped, this has happened, that's happened. And then a mob went to attack a mosque. And because the communists are strong in that area, the local communists went to defend or protect the mosque. And the first person killed to protect a mosque in Kannur district in Talasheri was the communist leader U.K. Kunjirao. But that resistance to communal clashes or violence was a signal turning point, because the RSS failed after that to create communal violence in that region in any serious manner. If you look at the history of all the communal riots which took place in the 60s and 70s, in those days at least there used to be judicial commissions which used to produce some reports. Nowadays they order a judicial inquiry and you don't know what happens eventually to that inquiry. But in the Talasheri riot, there was a Justice Vilayathil Commission of Inquiry. He was a retired High Court judge, Joseph Vilayathil. And his report is available. I think it's even available on the net. It's a very revealing report, which shows how the RSS actually engineered this riot. And it also goes on to say how the CPM workers foiled this attack on the mosque. And also, of course, other persons who stood against this. So the RSS in Kerala, its activities and its attacks had both this angle of attacking the working class, attacking working class organizations, anti-communist, and on the other hand, communal violence, anti-Muslim. And that continues to this day. So all through these years, if you see, this talk about what the RSS and the BJP is today claiming again and again, that the RSS is subject to a very vicious, systematic campaign of suppression by the CPIM. A simple question would suffice to answer this. Why should the CPIM in Kannur district, it is the strongest communist stronghold in India. Because in every village there is a strong communist following because of this long years of anti-imperialist, anti-feudal and working class struggles. In my party, 5% of the total membership of our party in the country comes from Kannur. 5%. That's how rooted the communists are in Kannur. This is a party, the RSS has got a dummy, it's a dummy. The BJP really has never really been able to find a sound footing in Kerala. Why should we go on creating trouble for ourselves by killing off these people when they are no threat to us politically? There have been clashes between the CPIM and the Congress in Kannur. They are a force there and we are there, so there is points of conflict come. But the BJP can't win even Panchayat. I mean, at the time in 1780 it could have been a Panchayat election. But the RSS was a weapon to disrupt the working class movement, the communist movement, and the RSS learned from its bitter experience that without removing this hurdle of the communists there, our communal agenda can't go forward. Without smashing the communist base, there's no way we can implement the communal agenda. So that is why constantly they have been at the use of violence and disruption to try to create a situation. And the figures, some of it has come in the media, since 70s, this is the police figures, up to now, up to say last month, 527 CPIM workers were killed in the whole of Kerala over a period of 4 decades, more than 4 decades. As far as the RSS is concerned, that figure is 185. And more than the RSS, there are also, we have more than this, there are Congress workers over time. So it's very clear that whatever political violence or clashes that exist, it is not as if the RSS, the poor RSS is being smashed up and suppressed by this very strong CPIM, which also uses the state machinery and power. Because if you see the pattern, after all, everybody knows in Kerala we are there every alternate 5 years. 5 years we are there, 5 years it's a Congress-led government. So you will find that the RSS does not spare the CPIM whether we are in government or whether we are not in government. That is not a concern. Because even in the recent period, that is this is from the 1970s, again the police figures for the more recent period is between 2000 and now, 2017, little over 16 years. 85 CPIM workers have been killed as against 65 of the RSS people. Now we have a problem. The problem is that the RSS is playing the role of an agent provocateur. They want to provoke violence from us. So in the recent round of violence, How did it start? It started on the day the election results were announced for the assembly in Kerala. And the first killing by the RSS took place in the constituency of the Chief Minister, who was elected from Dharmadam in Kannur district. So I was talking to the election agent of this constituency the other day. He said the killing was the last thing that had happened. That is on the victory celebration. All through the campaign, the RSS men would destroy the banners and posters of Pinarayi Vijayan. They would attack the houses of our key persons in the campaign. They would go and smash the window panes or throw small crack bombs or stones or create some provocation and create some disturbance which will disrupt, that's all. Because they cannot win there. But this is the thing. So what happens is, when sometimes the provocation is such of a cold-blooded killing, then the natural thing would be to, in self-defense, to retaliate. And that's what the RSS is now trying to engineer. But there also, since the government took over, this LDF government took over in May last year, these figures are also available. 13 people have been killed by the RSS BJP in the past little over 15 months. And if you look at that list, we have provided that list, it is available on our Facebook and website, etc. 10 were CPM workers. 2 were non-party, no party, but they were killed because they were Muslims. One was a preacher in a mosque in Kasaragod, who without any provocation, the RSS gang goes in and murders him inside the mosque, so that they can create a communal conflagration. His name was Riaz Maulvi. The police had to search because there was no motive, nothing seemed to be the reason for this. Finally they caught a gang, which is a Hindutva gang. And the other was Faisal. Now here's a man who proclaimed from the rooftops that I am converting to Islam. I think he had gone to the Gulf and come back. And he had openly converted to Islam, and he had come back to his house and he was living there, and one day when he was going out, he was hacked to death. So he was not CPI, he was not Muslim League, he was not anybody. Both these people were attacked purely as communal targets of hatred. And one man was killed who was a Congress supporter. This is the tally of the RSS in this short period. So the problem for us is how to deal with this violence. Yes, the police and the state will act on this, whoever commits any crime like murder or killing or throwing bombs, etc., that is there. But politically, what they want to do is to show that Kerala is a state and a society which is riven with violence and communal divisions and hatred. That is the sort of picture they want to portray. So you find all sorts of stories, including, unfortunately, the judiciary is subscribing to us in this very ridiculous decision the High Court has taken in Kerala about a 24-year-old woman who openly says, I converted to Islam and I married a man of my choice. And the High Court says, no, you're not old enough to be deciding on your own. And now the Supreme Court has ordered an NIA investigation to see if it is part of a plot to take this girl to Syria to join the IS, etc. So this is the attempt that Kerala is full of now, anti-national, terrorist connected, fundamentalists, Islamists, etc., etc. That's one angle. And the other is, which is the standard tactic of the RSS and the BJP, that these secular parties are appeasing the minorities, protecting the extremists and fundamentalist forces. The problem for the BJP, why they are not able to devise any other political strategy to fight us. They have a problem because they have a BJP. The RSS has floated the BJP. Now in all these years, there is a strange contradiction. The RSS every year reports our organization is growing in Kerala. The latest Shaka figures, they say highest in Kerala, in India. The number of Shakas are the highest, 3,800 or something. But despite this great growth of the RSS Shakas, the BJP is not able to gain much political influence. In fact, the BJP is a very stunted baby of the RSS. In fact, just before this big uproar took place about violence in Trivandrum, the BJP there was plunged into a big crisis because of the corruption scandals which have erupted. Here's a party which is not in power and can ever been in power or anywhere near power. They were just one MLA now. But whenever the central government is there, the BJP, like in the Vajpayee government time, then they utilize it to make as much money as possible. So this time, the BJP itself investigated and found one of its leaders had taken a bribe of 5.6 crore rupees from a medical college owner, promising him he'll get recognition from the Medical Council of India. So that inquiry report was leaked to the media, and now that man has been thrown off. But he has retaliated by exposing other scandals of other leaders. So various inquiries are going on. And now they have found a lot of money making is going on, trying to use the central government's authority. This happened during the BJP government also. Their own inquiry showed 16 crores was made by BJP leaders for allocation of petrol pumps and gas agencies during the Vajpayee government. So this party is not able to deliver. So the RSS takes it upon itself. And the RSS knows only this. The knife and the sword and the pistol. They are not able to work out a political strategy. So this must be understood. And many people seem to... I was very surprised to see some well-meaning liberals also advising us that it's not good what you are doing in Kannur and Kerala, this politics of the gun and the knife. Please give it up. This intermittent violence or internecine violence with the RSS. Both of you are doing the same thing. But what they don't understand is, this is what RSS is doing in the whole country today. Like, they are the Gaurakshaks who go and lynch people. What happened to Pehlu Khan? They are doing it to people who, the Hindutva force are doing it to intellectuals who oppose them. What happened to Kalburgi? The difference in Kerala is, when they started it in 1970, they met with resistance, and they met with organized resistance. And in all these 47 years, they have not been able to advance because of that. We have paid a price for it, of course. But they know, and the people of Kerala know, that as long as the communists and the left are strong, communal politics cannot advance. This is the real thing. So everybody who's outside advising us, we tell them, learn from our experience. You will have to face, if you want to fight the RSS, you can have a convention against communism, good, and pass a resolution. But on the ground, what are they doing in Uttar Pradesh? What are they doing in Jharkhand? What have they done in Gujarat? You need to have a force which will politically and ideologically never compromise with them. And then if they try to attack, then we will be able to mobilize the people to fight them. So that's why they are unable to break this barrier, this wall in Kerala. They'll keep trying because now they have got the central government. And the RSS has even said, let there be if President's rule comes, it is not our fault, it is the CPM's fault. So we're not afraid of President's rule. After all, the first ministry, EMS ministry, is also dismissed under Article 356. That's not going to trouble us. The fight which we are waging in Kerala against the RSS is the frontline battle against the communal and fascistic forces. And that's the thing. That should be understood. And we must stand with those forces in Kerala who are determined not to allow these reactionary communal forces to get a grip in any way in Kerala society. Thank you very much.